Hi everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Power of Knowing Forums Readiness Talks, a LinkedIn live event episode 179. Today we are discussing on the topic of retention, why your best people leave and how to keep them. To have this topic discussed, we have Mr. Thomas Welch, Mr. Rajiv Bajaj, and Mr. Sunil. Without further ado, let's welcome our esteemed speakers onto the podcast event. Hi Rajiv, hi Thomas, hi Sunil. Welcome to the show.
Thank you,
Over to you,
Prem.
Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prem, and welcome everybody, all our listeners today. Today, we're diving into one of the most critical aspects of long-term success for any organization. It's retention. Whether we're talking about retaining your very best and your most valuable managers, executives, and directors, or other leaders in your organization, or retaining loyal staff, or in fact, perhaps the most important of all, certainly the most valuable of all, your best customers. So the principles are interconnected. Losing great people or customers can feel like pouring water into a leaky bucket. And today we're here to help you plug those leaks for good. Retention isn't just about offering bigger paychecks or better perks. In the end, what we've learned is it's all about relationships, it's all about values, and it's all about alignment. And together with Rajiv and Sunil and Prem and myself, we're unpacking the secrets to creating an ecosystem where people want to stay and thrive because there's something about the psychological contract we have with them that really benefits them in their world. And by the end of this session, you'll have actionable strategies to build an organization that attracts, retains, and inspires your managers, your staff, and ultimately your customers. So let's get started. And I guess where we need to start is that retention is the backbone of sustainable success. When people leave, whether they're managers, staff, or customers, they take more than themselves. They take institutional knowledge, operational continuity, and sometimes even your reputation away with them. And why do they leave? Well, often it's because their needs and expectations just aren't met in key areas. At Regenesis, we found that retention is all about that word alignment, aligning the goals of the organization with the aspirations of its people and the expectations of its customers. It's about building a psychological contract at every level, a shared understanding of what each party brings to and gains from the relationship. Today, we're going to explore this in three separate parts. Number one, which will be led by Rajiv's experience, which is, first of all, how to attract and retain the best managers, executives, and directors. Number two, which will be led by Sunil, which is how to cascade the relationships that inspire and mobilize all the staff through the managers, of course. And then finally, how to ensure every customer interaction builds loyalty and advocacy, and that'll be led by Prem. So, with that in mind, let's jump into our first question. Rajiv, can you take us into attracting and retaining top managers, executives, and directors, please?
Thank you, Thomas. I think this is a subject very close to my heart, attracting and retaining top managers, executives, and directors, because they are the key people who actually run the organization for you, and they are the ones who actually are drivers for any organization. So, uh, in attracting these people, whether it is a top manager or a leader, starts with understanding the psychological contract they expect. So we must first understand what is their expectation, how are they trying to align with the company and with the organization, and then accordingly we need to identify the key components which are very very important for their retention. So I have identified five key components which are very important. One, of course, is the attraction and loyalty, because top talent is always drawn to organization with clear vision and a meaningful mission. So apart from the organization vision and mission, they have their own mission and vision also about their career. So they stay loyal when those visions translate into opportunities for personal fulfillment and professional growth. So it's not only that you know they should align their vision and mission with the organizational vision and mission. It's the other way around as well. We must understand their individual missions, and then try and align that with our organizational mission. And that can really create a very, very strong win-win situation for both the sides. And that leads to lots of loyalty, and that leads to a lot of conviction in whatever they are doing. Second, the most important point is consistent generative values. So managers and leaders mirror what they receive out to others. So expecting them to learn, grow, and thrive ensures that they cascade those expectations to their teams. So we need to actually be very clear and consistent with the values or a value system which we are driving, and that is how these people, they kind of generate, kind of grow, and ensure that they tell their teams or involve their teams in the similar fashion, and that is how the overall uh, loyalty and the retention increases in the organization. The third point, which is very, very important, is the upskilling. Upskilling is, I think, backbone for any organization. So give all who lead and manage the tools, training, skills, and framework. They need to inspire and mobilize others, because if they have the tools, if they are able to perform, and if they are always being given the upskilling tools to actually not only motivate themselves, but to motivate their team members also. So that leads to more team activity, that leads to more cohesive teams, that leads to more stronger bond between all the players in the organization. And that is where I think these guys start delivering more, they start enjoying their work. And that is one exercise which I have always seen helps in the retention, because that bond which we are talking about, that grows, and once they have their interpersonal bonds with each other, then they tend to automatically start aligning with the organizational objectives and mission. uh, then of course, the most important part, the fourth point, is aligning life and work goals, because if we are aligning their life and work goals, with the organizational goals, that really brings magic into the entire, retention strategy. So regularly revisit how their short, medium, and long-term personal and life goals dovetail with organizational features, goals, and benefits. This alignment structurally commit people to continue to build long-term relationships. In India, there are lots of inspirational stories on this subject. We we uh, we all keep on coming across inspirational stories about how a leader sometimes jumps to the shoes of the subordinate to make sure that the things work seamlessly. So all this has to be seen by the leader, or the person who is driving the organization, or the HR guy who is actually looking after the retention strategy for the organization. Uh, the fifth important point is internal and external alignment. So managers who feel valued respected and they expect to thrive internally, will naturally project that value externally to staff and customer. So if they are themselves motivated, if they are themselves having lots of positive energy in them, then definitely they will ooze that energy to others. And that is how the staff and the customers will feel more aligned with the organization. And that is how we are going to attract the top managers and executives and directors to stick with the organization. So I think these are the five important points. So attraction and loyalty, consistent generative values, upskilling, aligning life and work goals, and internal and external alignment. I think these are the important components for it. So I think all of them are important. So over to you, Thomas.
Thanks, Rajiv. And I think that we make an assumption sometimes that, well, firstly, that senior people know how to do all this stuff. And then we make an assumption that they will all do it the same way. And neither are true. So if people got gaps in their skill sets, that can be a problem. But more than that, even if they're skillful, if all the different people, all the different managers, executives, and directors in the organizations are using different skills, well, then the people, the staff, the employees get confused. And that's one of the biggest reasons why there's high turnover in lots of organizations, is because people get confused. So I guess the point is clear. Realize your managers, executives, and director actions and their habitual behaviors are what everybody is watching all the time. We always think that nobody is listening to their managers, but they're watching everything. When you invest intentionally to refine those skills and habits so that they truly align with who you want your organization to be, you secure the foundation of your organization and you make a kind of a rhythm and a beat that everybody recognizes. So now I think it's important to get Sunil's help to move us on to our second question, which is, okay, so retention of staff and teams. You've got the managers now working together as a body with the same kind of messaging. So now what do you do, Sunil?
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. I think the Rajiv has made very, very valid point regarding the top manager and all, but we should never forget that as far as the staff and team members are concerned, they are the real engine of the organization. They are the executor. They bring the top management, CEOs, directors plan to life. We should never forget that retention of those people are very, very important for the organization. They provide a reality check for innovators, ensuring that creative ideas get implemented in achievable ways. So that is the power of those staffs and team members. And it is very important for the organization that they should retain those talent. If you see the example of Japan, one person do the same thing again and again, and that is the reason we say that the perfection in their job is there. If we'll see the example of in any German company, we find that people are doing the same thing, and we sometimes swear that the quality of those companies are world class. So that is the power of these team members. That is the power of those staffs. And it is very, very important to retain those staffs. But the question is how? I will say there are five components of that. The first is belongingness, belonging. The second is motivation and mobilization. The third is the skill set, team skills. The fourth is inclusive processes. And the fifth is retention multiplier. If we take the first point, that is belongingness, there are a lot of tools available in the market when we hire people on the basis of behavioral aspect. We take the behavioral specific evidences and we find that they are fit for the organization. But that is the one step. The important is that we have to ensure that whatever values and culture your organization is having, that should get imbibed in those people. And once that will get imbibed, then believe me, they will become your asset. They have to understand that yes, this culture is not the organizational culture, this culture is mind culture. There everything will get aligned with the organizational value, purpose, mission, vision. And once that alignment has been done, then they will never ever think to leave the organization, because everybody in this life want to do a purposeful job. And when their purpose get aligned with the organizational purpose, half of the battle won. They never want to leave the organization. And that is the real, I will say, the magic happens there. So that belongingness is very, very important. So it is very, very important that you have to ensure that whatever staff member, team members you have, they should find that yes, I have to work for this purpose. That is very, very important. The second important and the game changer is that always you have to ensure that whatever values you are imbibing in them, they should understand that these values are important for their personal life, social life, family life, and that will help them in those aspects also. And that again a game changer. A small steps like family day celebration, taking care of their parents at religious tour, those creates a bond with the organization, and they never think to leave the organization. And when they discuss regarding the organization among the family member, they find no, this is the right place to work. It hardly matters if we'll get something more somewhere else. So that is the power here. The second is motivation and mobilization. So you have to motivate and you have to mobilize and you have to ensure that people has to work there for the purpose. People has to work there that yes, I have to achieve it. And you have to demonstrate that you handhold them. The third important is team skill. So the communication and interpersonal skill, that is very, very important. So once that environment will get created, coordination and interpersonal skill, they will never think to leave the organization. Inclusive processes. So I personally feel that anybody who can, define the right process or implement the right process, it is the person who is doing the job. So you have to involve them in doing that. And if they will get involved, then process will get implemented. And this last but not the least, and very, very important, that is retention multiplier effect. So you are retaining the staff, that culture if you are building, then believe me, that will create a multiplier effect. So people will never leave the organization. That is the power of this. Over to you, Thomas.
Thanks, Sunil. And what we're hearing from both you and Rajiv is we are not making an assumption that people have necessarily the capabilities and the skills to be successful where they are. And I think what you've shown us quite clearly is not only do we have to ensure the managers are using skillful approaches with their staff and all using the same ones, but similarly in the organization, we can show people, individual employees, how to be successful. And that's good for us as the manager, it's great for the organization, and of course, it's great for the employee as well to feel they are a success. But people often lack micro skills in their situation that we can help them with, and it's such an easy thing to do. And obviously, in Regenesis, we spend a lot of our focus getting the whole thing to harmonize and work together. So I think you made great points there, Sunil. Great teams don't just happen; they're built through intentional internal actions, showing people how to be successful. When you create an environment where staff are valued, supported, and recognized as successful, as you say, they'll all want to stay and contribute. So, Prem, last section of this, is this true also for customers and clients? Maybe you could take us into this area and give us your thoughts on this.
Yeah, Thomas, I think you made a very important point. Customer clients are the livelihood of an organization, and retention is about creating a loyalty through every interaction. And There we can look at five essential pointers there. One is exceptional service. One is interaction loyalty. The third point I would say is advocacy, and employee impact is the fourth point that I'm talking. And the last but not the least, lifetime value that you drive for the organization. Let's talk at exceptional service. So normally what happens is we look at meeting the expectations and keeping the projects or the interactions going. But when we exceed the expectation at every touch point, there's a difference which comes in between the customers and the clients. That is makes a lot of impact there. Now, how is that the second point will be there? Interaction with loyalty. Each customer needs an attention that is very for each of the interaction should leave them with a hope and a commitment that they have never got or done before. So that kind of an impact of loyalty with the customer, what you say, makes a lot of difference. Now, going beyond that is the advocacy part of it, the third point that we are talking about, where loyal customers become your best marketers. They encourage and celebrate, reward, they praise, right? So they keep telling you don't need to do much of the marketing that has to be done. When you keep your customers loyal, they bring you more customers, which turns out to become a marketing place for yourself without much hassle there. And now the fourth point that will happen is when the staff treat customers well, it is not only retains the customers but also inspires the customer to emulate those positive behaviors elsewhere. So employees also are motivated the way they are interacting with the customers' response to their pointers. It makes a lot of difference. Now coming to the fifth point, lifetime value is what we're talking about here. When we retain customers and provide consistent response to them and the consistent revenue, and more likely invest in a premium products or services to them, it creates an impact to them. And that's where customer will tie up his personal and professional values to the projects or the services, the products that you are giving to them, and that becomes an experience, right? And that experience is the lifetime value which they will cherish to do things. What do you, Thomas?
Okay, thank you, Prem. And I think what we're gaining from the three inputs we've had is actually you have to create a whole ecosystem, which is what we were saying at the beginning. And more or less, you have to show each party how to be successful, how to be skillful, and how to gain all the benefits that your organization is offering. So I think the three layers, when you look at them all together, make a massive difference. What's really interesting here is it costs four times more to acquire a new customer than to retain an existing one. Customers who stay do so because they feel valued, respected, and served. Build these connections, and your customers will stick with you for around for the long haul. And of course, that's where the value is. And this, of course, is our main focus in Regenesis. It's all about building your ecosystem, not just the customer retention, staff retention, management retention one, but in the whole organization. Your organization is effectively a system for delivering the results that it's getting now. If you can improve your system overall, then you can improve the total results that your organization is getting, no matter how good you are already. So let's bring this full circle. Retention is about ecosystems, not silos. By focusing on managers, staff, and customers, you create a self-reinforcing system of loyalty and growth. At Regenesis, we specialize in helping managers and organizations just like yours build retention ecosystems that drive recurring revenue, reduce turnover, and amplify the profits and impact. So what I would say, if today's session resonated with you, what I'd like to give you is a big piece of news. On the 14th of December, which is in fact a Saturday, we're going to offer a 6-hour high impact workshop to give you a whole year's training in a single lump. It's an absolute game changer. In those just 6 hours, you'll get the entire Regenesis growth system. And for just $199, we'll guide you, $199, we'll guide you through the 12 steps of Regenesis. And it will prepare you and your organization for massive success in 2025. What always we say, spaces are limited. And so we also want to put out a special offer to you and say, look, the next 50 participants will receive a 20% discount. Just use the coupon code retention20 as you register for the workshop. So don't wait, reserve your spot today. It's really important to get it done. What you've gained today is just a tiny sample of the Regenesis thinking. And for those of you that come regularly to our podcast, you'll realize that we've got lots of these components which on their own make a difference. But if you put them all together in a whole Regenesis system, imagine the impact you could have not only on your organization, but your entire career as well. So it really does, it's a game changer. That's what our experience tells us. And what's better is every organization you ever manage and lead will be set for growth. So wherever you go, you take the Regenesis framework and you can use it again and again and again. And each time it just adds more value. So here's the link, and it's very simple. It's regenesisworks.com. So www.regenesisworks.com. That takes you there. And then /Regenesis-growth-workshop. That's it. There will be we'll write it down also so you can see it on the banner at the top of this, at the bottom of this page. And remember that coupon code, and we'll also put that in the banner, for a 20% reduction is just retention20, no space, just the word retention20. So hopefully we'll see you there. Prem, I think it's over to you to take us out, isn't it?
Yeah, Thomas. Thank you. So we are putting up a workshop on, as Thomas said, on the 14th of December. Use the Regenesis code and start registering it. Plus, we have put a scroll down there, which is coming up. With this, I think we'll conclude the session. Thank you for your valuable points, Thomas, Rajiv, and Sunil. Our next episode on Regenesis would be the profitability pivot, how to reinvent your business in a challenging times, which is happening next Wednesday on the 11th of December, which we will look forward to see you. We are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have hope you have found this discussion valuable. Thank you for joining us. Our tomorrow's podcast will be the 180th topic, the role of technology in modern learning and development, tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Looking forward to see you, everybody. Thank you for being part of the session today. Rajiv, Sunil, thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prem. And remember, attention isn't just a strategy, it's a mindset and a commitment to growth, just like the rest of Regenesis. So have fun with it. We hope you leave this session inspired to take action. See you next time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thomas, thank you.